Hello, Year 9. So here we are, lesson 2 in our Causes of World War II unit. Last lesson, you should have looked at the double lesson of work, which was on avoiding war and the League of Nations and what that was. And you should have come to the conclusion by the end of it that the League wasn't particularly successful because ultimately its job was to keep peace and not start another war. And by 1939, another war had started. So what we're going to look at today is, what did Hitler want? So what were his aims? What did he actually want to achieve when he became Chancellor in 1933? So we're going to look at the years from 1933 up till 1938. So title, what did Hitler want? You just need to write the title, guys. Don't worry about writing the lesson objective or the keywords or anything like that. But the keywords, you probably will need to come back and refer to them. So make sure you have a read of them because they will come up today and you might not know what they mean when they come up. All right, so first thing that I'd like you to do is watch the Nazi foreign policy video. The link is in the Show My Homework description. And you don't need to write these answers down, but I would like you to have a think of them when you're watching. It's a really good video. It's actually produced by a secondary school in Ireland, so it's really good. So see if you can listen out for what Hitler's 5 main aims were. They're in the red graffiti text that come up. The name of the book he wrote in prison, and I know a lot of you will actually know that. How did he let people know about his ambitions? And what were the 3 main categories of the Treaty of Versailles? You guys actually already know them because we went back over them last lesson. So as I said, you don't need to write anything down, but just be listening out for that sort of information, particularly his 5 main ambitions. So definitely number 1. All right, so what you should have had here is Hitler's 5 main ambitions. So he wanted to create a greater Germany. He wanted Lebensraum in the east, which is basically land for his greater German people to live on. He wanted to rebuild the military back up again because, remember, the Treaty of Versailles had put restrictions on how big it could be. He wanted to destroy the Treaty of Versailles completely. We know he felt that was unfair right from the start. And he wanted to destroy communism. So they were his 5 main ambitions. The book he wrote in prison was Mein Kampf, and that was when he was in prison during the Munich Putsch. He let people know about what he wanted via Mein Kampf. So that was really where he was able to put down all of his ideas, particularly about the Jewish people, and also through his speeches. And then we have got the 3 main categories of the Treaty of Versailles. So we have got BLAM. So you have got land, which is the territorial, you have got money, and you have got Air Force and military. Okay, and then the B stands for the blame, which was the guilt clause that was placed upon them. All right, so Hitler's aims. So all he wanted, and I want you to copy this out, okay, these 3 bullet points with a little mini title of Hitler's aims, because these are important. So he wanted to destroy the Treaty of Versailles. Now, he wanted to get back all of the land that they had lost during World War I. You know that Germany had land taken off of them as a punishment after World War I. But to be able to get back the land, he needed to rebuild up his army and the navy because they were too small. They wouldn't have had any effect if they tried to go and take back land. Secondly, he wanted to unite all German speakers into one big country, and he wanted to call that the Greater German Reich. Okay, so to do that, he had to create living space for all of these German people, all right, because they weren't all going to fit in the existing size of Germany. So they were such a great and powerful race, they needed this extra living space, which was called Lebensraum, to reach their full potential. And he was going to do this by taking land from weaker countries. He was just going to steal it. But to do it, had to rebuild his armies up first. Right, guys, so what I would like you to do is, as we move through the video, there are 6 different slides, years that we are going to focus on. So from 33 to 38, you are going to create a timeline. So obviously, 33 to 38, that is 6 years. So your timeline is going to need 6 boxes. However, I would strongly advise that you wait until you get to the end before you create your timeline, because some years have 2 slides worth of information. So if you draw out 6 boxes that are all the same size, you might find you don't have enough space on your page. So just wait until you've gone through the information. Now, I'm not going to narrate over the information. I would like this to be a task that you guys do yourself. So you need to read through the info, okay? And you need to be placing it into your timeline. What's really important when you're doing your timeline is you've got to write the date at the top of each box, or it is just information. A timeline needs a date on it, okay, to qualify it as a timeline. You can have it as a flow chart. So I would have your piece of paper A4 portrait, and you're going to have 6 boxes in it. Do the arrows afterwards, okay, showing the direction of your timeline. But you can do it in any way you want. If you want to do it landscape and go along and down, whatever, however you do it, as long as it's clear and it works for you, it works for you, okay? But you must be putting in all of the information. You don't have to copy it exactly as I've written it. If you can rewrite it in a way that you understand, that is absolutely fine, okay? And that's actually a really good skill if you're able to do that. I always try to say to you to avoid just copying what I've written. All right, and this is the task. I've just realised I have not put the picture on here of the phone, but this is the task that I would obviously like you to photograph and send to me via Show My Homework or via email. Okay, so just to be sure with you guys, this is the task that I want you to send me when it's finished, okay? So there'll be no narration from me while you're doing slides 33 to 38, but there will be one from me at the end. All right, so you should have had a completed timeline now that should have information about the different things that happened, excuse me, in all of those years. So what I would like you to do for your plenary, I want you to go back to the 3 main aims of Hitler that you wrote down at the start, and I want you to have a think about which of those 3 aims did he make the most progress with by 1938. So have a look at all of the things that you've written on your timeline and do a little tally chart. So right. This happened in 1933. That was linked to this aim number 1, aim number 2. By the time you get to the end of it, whichever has the most ticks next to it is going to be the one that he made the most progress with. And then I just want you to have a think about, out of all of the things that you've looked at today, all of those events, all of the things that Hitler did and that happened in that time, which was the most significant, so the most important, and why? Okay, so try and jot a few words down. I appreciate you've had quite a lot of writing today, but the double lesson that you had wasn't really a double lesson's worth of work, so we have to make up for that a little bit. Okay, but all being well, I will speak to you guys again for our next lesson.